Well, this is the clarification now that has come in from the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, clarifying on the viral video from the 4th of September where he can be heard threatening a fellow BJP politician with a fake axe in his hand. Well, after this video that went viral, he said that he didn't like the way he was honored with a silver mukut.
कि चांदी के मुकुट, सोने के मुकुट और जिस प्रकार की ये संस्कृति चल रही थी, उसको हमने बहुत, जिसको कहना चाहिए, बेरहमी से बंद किया था। और आज भी अगर कोई व्यक्ति, और खासकर मेरा अपना कार्यकर्ता, मुझे जानकारी दिए बिना मेरे सिर पर मुकुट बांधेगा चांदी का, तो मित्रों मुझे स्वाभाविक गुस्सा आता, मैं इसको बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकता। वो मेरा अपना कार्यकर्ता है, मेरा बहुत अच्छा पुराना परिचित है, सरकार का भी हिस्सेदार रहा है वो, और कोई उसने बुरा भी नहीं माना है।
And that's the clarification that has come in, and this is because of the video there, as you see on your screens, had gone viral. Features Haryana Chief Minister, where he's seen holding a golden axe in his hand. It's a fake axe. This is part of a rally, during which he turns angrily at his BJP fellow leader, threatening to chop off his head. Khattar can be heard saying, "Gardan kaat dunga teri."
दुश्मनों का नाश करने के लिए गर्दन काट दूंगा तेरी।
Okay, that's the Chief Minister snapping at his fellow colleague, and part of that audio is audible because he was also holding the microphone in his hand, which was part of this rally. He said he's given a clarification here. He said that he's against this pratha, as he says. He's against this tradition of being adorned with gold or silver mukuts. Let's get in our correspondent Gurpreet getting us those details here. Gurpreet, after facing absolute backlash for how his audio was heard and threatening his colleague, this is how he's decided to clarify that this is what angered him at that moment.
Well, that the Chief Minister of Haryana, the way he has been speaking, the way he has spoken during, even when media asked all these questions, that he used that foul language at that time. He did not give a proper answer, but he has given a veiled answer, even by attacking the Congress party by saying that this was the culture which Congress party had brought in and he did not like, and that's why he has got annoyed on this issue. Otherwise, he was saying that he is against this culture, and that is one of the reasons. But the main thing that he did not apologize, he did not say sorry, he did not even feel that he has spoken wrong and he had used foul language. Even for that, for whom he has used that language, even for that, he was very lightly. He says that he's known to him. He's his worker also. He doesn't have any problem. He did not raise any issue, and the media people are raising. And as we know that Randeep Surjewala from Congress, he tweeted, and Dipinder Hooda, member parliament, the former member parliament from Rohtak, he tweeted all these things. And after that, there was a lot of controversy in the state, the way arrogantly he was speaking. So instead of apologizing, instead of feeling that he used foul language, he did not even utter a single word for saying that he apologized. He was giving a long clarification on that, and he was targeting the way that he's doing politics. He was saying that this culture he did not like. Somebody was trying to honor him with the silver mukut. He did not want to take that, and that's why he got annoyed on this issue, and that's why he used foul language.
Okay, but so you're saying that this is just a clarification. This is not an apology that should have come in for his colleague, and instead he ended up attacking the Congress on this. Gurpreet, thank you for getting us those inputs. Let's get you what we're discussing on the big story today. This is ever since the new Motor Vehicle Act that came into effect from the 1st of September this month, it has faced resistance in multiple states. There are as many as 10 states that are still reluctant to impose these hiked fines. Some states have accused the centre of burdening the common man with these hefty fines. The Gujarat government, though, has decided to implement it, but with a much reduced fine bracket. Some of them slashed by almost 50%. Chief Minister Rupani saying that the fines that have been laid out by this act were only a suggestion of maximum penalties. His government has decided to reduce some after due deliberation. He further added, by this, the government does not mean to show that they're not serious about nabbing violations. So this is what we're asking today. Are the other states prioritizing politics over people's safety? Is people's safety being compromised if there are other states criticizing the amount of tariff in the hiked fines?
चालू वाहने जो मोबाइल ऊपर बात करवामा आवे तो हालनी दंड 1000 रुपया એને 500 रुपया करवामा આવ્યો છે એવી જ રીતે એટલે પ્રથમ વખત બીજી વખત કરશે તો 1000 रुपया દંડ એવી જ રીતે હેલ્મેટ માટે જે 100 रुपया दंड હતો કેન્દ્ર સરકારે 1000 रुपया સ્વીચ્યો છે આપણે 500 रुपया હેલ્મેટનો દંડ રાખવામાં આવ્યો છે અને પાછળ બેસનાર ઉપર આપણે દંડ હમણાં નથી લેતા સીટ બેલ્ટમાં પણ અત્યારે 100 रुपया છે કેન્દ્ર સરકારે 1000 रुपया આપણે 500 रुपया એ દંડ એમનો પણ સીટ બેલ્ટ ફરજિયાત 4 વ્હીકલમાં આ કહેલું છે 3 વ્હીલરથી ઉપર 3 વ્હીલરને 1500 દંડ એલએમબી એટલે 4 વ્હીલરને 3000 અને હેવીને 5000 रुपया દંડ ભયજનક રીતે ચલાવવું અને એવી રીતે ઓવર સ્પીડ એમાં 3 વ્હીલર 2 અને 3 વ્હીલર માટે 1500 रुपया ટ્રેક્ટરને પણ ભયજનક રીતે સ્પીડમાં ચલાવવું તો 1500 रुपया એલએમબી ના 2000 અને હેવીના 4000 रुपया આપણે દંડ રાખ્યો છે ડ્રાઇવિંગ લાયસન્સ વગર અત્યારે 500 रुपया છે કેન્દ્ર સરકારે 5000 ચૂકવું છે આપણે 2 વ્હીલરમાં 2000 रुपया અને 3 વ્હીલરથી 4 વ્હીલર કે ઉપરનું એમાં 3000 रुपया આપણે દંડ રાખ્યો છે.
And here's the latest coming in from the state of Maharashtra. They're still discussing the new Motor Vehicles Act. State Transport Secretary is now expected to meet with the State Transport Minister of Maharashtra, Gadkari, in a short while from now. This meeting has been called to discuss legalities of the changes that are to be made to the traffic law after the new Motor Vehicles Act was passed by the central government. Let's get in further inputs. We have with us our correspondent Neha with those details here. Neha, what exactly are these legalities that the state government of Maharashtra needs to look into? Is there a hesitation to implement the act as it exists in the available brackets of fines?
Before this, we know that Maharashtra also is one of the 10 states which is yet to implement the new Motor Vehicles Act. And before this, State Transport Minister Gadkari had said that he is yet to issue a formal notification on implementing this new act because he personally is against the higher fines that have been imposed under the act, and which is why he had he had asked the legal department of the state government to check if Maharashtra can be kept away from implementing this act, can be not included within the bracket. So which means that he wanted Maharashtra to continue with the ongoing traffic regulations and norms that are there and not implement this new Motor Vehicles Act, because according to him personally, he thinks that those fines are really high, they are not required and it is not really necessary, and which is why after the file has now gone to the legal department. Today we are supposed to understand that the State Transport Secretary, who leads the transport department in the government, will now discuss with the Transport Minister as to what feedback has been given by the legal department of the state government on whether this can happen or no. So if it has to happen, if the State Transport Ministry is even looking at reducing the fines, or if it's looking at not implementing it altogether. So all of this is going to be decided in the meeting today.
All right, so that of course is along the lines of showing hesitation to implement the new motor vehicle as it exists here. Maharashtra perhaps would like to revisit some of those fines as well. Neha, thank you for getting us those inputs. And here's what's happening in the national capital. The Indian Youth Congress now is protesting. It's protesting against this and it is protesting right outside the Union Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari's residence in New Delhi. They're against the heavy fines that are levied under the new Motor Vehicle Act, saying that it's against the people. Let's get in further details. We have with us our correspondent Ayushman with those inputs here. Ayushman, help us understand in what kind of an argument is this to say that an act which is revisited for the people, for the safety in traffic, could work against people?
Well, the Indian Youth Congress workers were here at the residence of Nitin Gadkari, where you can clearly see it behind me are the barricades which are placed in front of Nitin Gadkari residence. And the Youth Congress workers said that this act was mean by Modi government to take out money from people's pocket, and there was unrealistic challans being cut in the name of people, and that is why they were against it. They are saying that this act has been brought because the Modi government wants to loot the common people, and that is why you see the number of challans, the rate has gone high, and that at the same time the hefty fine which is being imposed on people who are plying on the road, they say that their resistance is that the government is trying to provoke people, and they are trying to push a law which is not beneficial to them. They are not buying the argument that it is for the safety of people. They feel that somewhere down the line the government is trying to loot common man's money, and the hefty fine that is being imposed on their on the challans is what the Youth Congress is against, and that is why they are protesting against this new Motor Vehicle Act.
Okay. All right, so that's the explanation coming in on why they choose to protest against this, saying that it's against the people. It's perhaps too steep for many to be able to afford these nature of fines here. But it's also the fact there, Ayushman, that a lot of these have been imposed collectively. The traffic police checking vehicles, charging all violations altogether, which is why it's amounting to the amounts that we've seen of 23,000 or 17,000 rupees.
Yes, in fact, Sahar, if you repeatedly go through the statements of Nitin Gadkari, he has always said that safety of people is the prime concern, and for that it has been introduced so that if you are paying fine, you can be alert and you can obey the rules, and that is what has been the common minimum program, or the agenda has been behind this. But the Youth Congress feels that if you go through the several cases which has come forward, there are people whose vehicles cost is 40,000. They have been challaned for about 50,000 rupees. And the Youth Congress says that it in a way, the unrealistic challans are being made, and it is the common people who are suffering because of it, and that is why they are protesting against this.
Ayushman, many thanks for getting us that view. We will have to leave it at that. We're moving on to other news on the same matter. This is with respect to an update coming in regarding the Delhi government now. Delhi Transport Minister Kailash Gehlot has said they also will take a decision only after consulting all stakeholders.
जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उनसे लगातार कंसल्टेशन चल रहा है, पब्लिक का क्या रिएक्शन है, क्या सेंटिमेंट्स हैं, उसको देखा जा रहा है। दूसरे स्टेट्स किस प्रकार के नोटिफिकेशन निकाल रहे हैं, कहाँ कम कर रहे हैं, उसको भी हम एग्जामिन कर रहे हैं, और बहुत जल्द इस पे कुछ ना कुछ निर्णय लिया जाएगा।
Let's get in further inputs. We have with us our correspondent Shreyasi getting us those details as far as the government of West Bengal is concerned, in the nature of view that they've maintained on why they feel this is not necessarily going to be working towards following of traffic rules.
The West Bengal Transport Minister Shubhendu Adhikari on the floor of the House in the Assembly 2 weeks ago had made it extremely very clear that West Bengal will not be levying the new Motor Vehicles Amendment Act as of now. The two objections that he raised inside the Assembly, which was an off-camera proceeding, the number one point saying that the penalties are extremely high, and the common man cannot afford such high penalties, and thus the state government does not agree with the the central government on levying such high penalties. And the second point that the West Bengal government was not agreeing on is the fact that when owners are buying cars from the car companies are the ones who will give a fitness certificates to this car. Shubhendu Adhikari saying that's a conflict of interest. A car company cannot really be assessing that whether or not their car is fit for the roads or not. Keeping these two issues in mind, State Transport Minister of West Bengal has even shot a letter to the central ministry saying that at this point there are certain factors that need to be discussed before they are implemented, and for West Bengal at this point in time it is not possible to follow the new amendments. However, this again raising the bigger question on whether the safety and security of people on the roads is going to be compromised, keeping in mind the central government has panned out this entire scheme of things which were passed in both the houses of the parliament before being brought into a law.
Tracy, stay on with us. Let's also get an update on how this is being implemented or not in Chandigarh. Our correspondent Gurpreet is getting us those details. Yeah, Gurpreet, any hesitations having been expressed as far as the new Motor Vehicles Act in Chandigarh?
Well, let me tell you that in Chandigarh they are implementing and they have already issued a challan. But let me tell you about Punjab and Haryana also. Haryana government they have started creating awareness. That is very shocking part because BJP party is ruling and it appears because of the election which are coming there. So they are trying to do this thing. They are going to create awareness campaign for that. And same that in Punjab we had talked to so many people. They did not want to implement it. They are saying that first there is need to have infrastructure because the Punjab is also being ruled by the Congress. The way we know that Youth Congress is holding a protest there. So the way they are also taking the same stance. But the BJP government in Haryana, they are also reluctant to implement all these things. And we had asked this question to the Chief Minister of Haryana. He says that first he will try to create awareness. After that, this will be implemented. But at the same time, even when we talk about the Chandigarh, we talk to so many people. They appreciate, they say that safety and security is more important, that challan, that there should be fear in the mind of the even the vehicle drivers also. They did not mind. They say that with this amendment, it appears that the people will also follow rules and regulation. And once they are following rules and regulation, then there is nothing about the hefty challans, hefty fees, hefty amount of this thing, because they are supposed to follow rules and regulation amended in the new Motor Vehicle Act. But in Chandigarh,
Absolutely.
they are trying to implement from each and every way.
Right. Yes, stay on with us, please. Going across to our correspondent Neha in Mumbai. Maharashtra government, of course, still needs to take a final decision on that, Neha. But with states which are refusing to implement this, okay, we seem to have lost that connect here. Shresi, this is also being seen as largely as a populist measure to inform people in West Bengal that this is anti-people because this is far too expensive. It's traffic at the end of the day. Yes, people's safety is very important, but the West Bengal government would like people to believe that we would much rather spread awareness instead of asking them to pay hefty fines.
Well, the state government already has a program on ground called Safe Drive, Save Life under the leadership of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. But having said that, of course, we have seen the kind of face-off between the state government here in West Bengal and the central government on various occasions where the central government has put out a certain kind of an order which has not been followed by the state government, saying that keeping the federal structure in mind, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has several times said that the state government is usually not consulted. But in a case like this, where the amendments were passed by both the houses, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha in the last session of the parliament, goes on to say that the MPs who are representatives of the people on ground have agreed to really pass those amendments. Thus, the state government not implementing them right now, right away, does bring up a question mark on the road safety and security aspect, keeping in mind that in a situation where the penalties do go up higher, then the people people who are behind wheels will, of course, be a little bit more careful perhaps while being on the street, which has been kind of quite rampant, not only in the state of West Bengal, where accidents have been reported even from the city center, but also from across the country.
Let's also get another voice. We have Mr. Harman Singh Sidhu, who is the founder of the NGO Arrive Safe. Mr. Sidhu, thank you for speaking with us. What's your view, given that this is an area that you've been working on, traffic safety rules that need to be followed with no violations, zero tolerance? Do you think that this is an act which should immediately be implemented across all states with no hesitation, with no doubt by respective state governments?
The sad part is that we are unaware of the total acts or rules which govern the road safety. So Motor Vehicle Act is just one of the components. It's not the only, you can say, panacea to road safety, number one. Number two, when this act has been amended and it has been passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, there are nearly 70 things which have been amended, right? Out of which less than 10 which pertain only to chalaning people or where the fines have been increased. They are being talked about. That is being under the, focus of all the agencies, including the media. So secondly,
but Mr. Sidhu, if I give you the example of the government of Gujarat, how they have chosen to implement is saying that the central law is only a suggestion of the absolute upper limit of the hiked fines, and with respect to the local situation in Gujarat, they've decided to slash the fines. Some of them have been slashed 50%, but they've also made it very clear. Gujarat Chief Minister also making it very clear that just because we've slashed the fines doesn't mean that we're going to be lenient with traffic violations. How do you read that? Because in a person's mind, there is zero tolerance only with respect to these fines being paid. If those fines are slashed, is there a relaxation then?
No, not really. See, fine is one thing. Second is there are options like at the onset, it is the discretion of the state. Let's be clear on that. It's not a federal law. It's the central government has mentioned that it is the maximum slab. So the state has this, option or liberty to reduce it. So it's up to them. Secondly, when we talk of these fines, yes, the amount is a deterrent, but at the same time, it has to be realistic. Let's say, I can give you the example of Chandigarh.
That's right. Do you think the other states are taking a populist measure? Some states which are going into elections in a few months or in a few weeks, such as Maharashtra, which goes to elections next month. Is this a populist measure to not inconvenience the people, to not anger the people? So let's not just implement this act with such expensive fines.
This is the sad part. Most of the things that our governments do, they are all directly related to elections or, being populist with the people. So, again, just like Maharashtra, you talk about the state of Haryana, earlier they immediately started implementing this, and then they rolled it back that for 15 days we'll give awareness sessions to the people and then we'll start chalaning. So, elections are due there also.
Okay. Mr. Sidhu, appreciate your expert view coming in on this. Many thanks to all our reporters who've given us details with respect to how certain states are looking at this, those who've still not implemented it. So at the end of the day, what is being read is a sign of this being a populist measure. Those states which are hesitant to implement it, it's not just a question of speaking out in people's favor, saying that it's too expensive. Well, the best that you can do for people is to implement these fines so that they're safe on the roads. Do not look at elections in mind. Do not look at populist measures at the risk of lives. Thank you for being with us.